My name's Stan Neptune. I'm a member of the Penobscot Nation in Maine. This is the Penobscot River and lived here pretty much all my life. I've been a wood carver for about 35 years. I learned from an elder who I used to go and visit. I went there to learn a little bit about my culture because before I went in the service, I knew nothing about my culture. And so when I got out of the service, there was a lot of things going on in Indian country all across the United States. And so I did a lot of traveling, going to traditional gatherings, spiritual conferences, demonstrations. And so I was trying to search for my roots. And in doing so, somebody asked me, don't you have somebody from your own nation that could tell you a little bit about your culture? So then somebody suggested Sanabe, who was the traditional root club carver at the time. So I went to see Sanabe, and he lived in this little one-room shack. It was like 14 by 12. I went there mainly to learn about my culture, and he asked me if I wanted to learn how to carve these root clubs. I never went there to try to learn how to carve. I just went there to learn about my culture. I believe he kind of chose me to carry on the traditional carvings of the Penobscot root clubs. And so that's how I got started, and that was back in about 73 or 74, and I've been carving ever since. It's called a root club because it's made from the root of the birch tree. If you look at it this way, this is about this much here would be underground, and when we dig the roots, that's what we look for. When we look for a root, we look for a burl like all the way around, and the more rounded that is, the better the root is. So then we dig them out, and it's got all these little feeder roots still on it. Chip these little feeder roots off. And these are clubs that all the feed roots have been taken off. The prongs have been sharpened or shaped into different forms. This particular club is going to have probably a brave's head or a chief's head on it, right there. And probably an eel or a snake up here. I think this is going to be a chief's head here, so we'll just kind of do this. You never know what's going to come out of a root because the root systems are all different. And they're all one of a kind because it just is. This is a traditional Penobscot headdress that goes straight up, and that's what's going to be on here. This is the style I learned from Sanabe, you know, the sweep back Western style headdress. I did it like that, and but I think he helped me a little bit carving the face on this one. This is one of the walking sticks that Sanabe used to carve. People who have seen Sanabe's work, they can recognize his work just by the face. Every carver carves a face that I heard in their likeness. And I can see Sanabe in his carved faces, but I can't see it. I can't see them in mine, but somebody else can. This is how they were made when they were used as a weapon, and it's got a long handle. So, I mean, that's what I'd like to have. I'd like to have better reach, you know. if you're doing battle with one of these, there's nothing carved in them, just your basic war club. But over the years, they went from weapon use to ceremonial use with spirit faces, and then they went to early tourist pieces, and now we consider it more of an art form than anything else. This is an old Penobscot club. It's got a little spirit face in there. See the eyes, notched out nose, and a little mouth. So this is one of the old spirit clubs that was made back in the 1800s. We call this a notched out eyes, nose, and mouth because that's all it is. It's kind of a notched out, you know, nose. It's got a mouth and just kind of like eyes in there. So that's another old style spirit club, probably mid-1800s. I started doing old style spirit clubs as well as the contemporary ones that I do now. Some of the old clubs had brass tacks for eyes, so I started incorporating that into them also. So this is one of the old style snow clubs, newly made. After 15 or 20 years of research and after being a wood club carver for over 30 years, this guy pulls in the yard and he's going to do blown insulation up in the attic. So he went up and he come down and he says, I found a couple of things up in your attic, something that looks like a root of a tree. So I went upstairs immediately, and this was in my attic. All those years that I'd been carving and researching, this was found in my attic like 20 years after I'd been carving. And this particular club is black birch. And black birch is from southern Maine and Massachusetts. And the reason I believe that is because this might have been made down that way by a Penobscot. It says Corderville, Mass. And then it also has a date here, May 15, 21. So this club was made in 1921. There's always a handful of carvers doing this, and when we research and we find old clubs, you can still feel energy in some of those clubs. I feel good at doing it because it's a traditional carving made only by our people, and to be one of a handful of people that continue to do this, I feel real good about it. And I'm really proud that my son is continuing it too. So how's it going?
It's getting there. My name's Joe Hagedana. We're on Indian Island, Maine, Penobscot territory, along the Penobscot River.
It didn't take him long to learn and just go on his own. I just kind of got him going, you know. And then after that, because he's always been an artist, he's always done drawings and paintings and things like that. So when he started carving, it just came natural. And his chip carving, I believe, is even finer than my chip carving now.
So each time you do that, you have to come around the other way and actually chip it out like that.
When I learned from Sanabi, and Sanabi had a certain style. He'd always paint them, and he used the same sort of designs on his handle, and that's how I learned. And I kind of use that same floral designs and double curve designs on the carvings that I do. And Hugga's used that when he first started, but then he's expanded and he's formed his own style.
My dad taught me how to carve traditional carvings, which the Penobscot were well known for. There's a pretty deep cultural background of carvings that go back into Penobscot history, and so this is just something that I learned. These are just walking sticks, decorational walking sticks. Most of the time when I get a stick going, I'd like to plan it out with a little bit of pencil drawings. Things come out different every time. Just like the walking sticks, it's just like a miniature form. Talking sticks. Some teachers can use those like in a classroom setting, pass around in a circle form, and whoever has a stick could do the speaking, and then they pass it on. Works well in the classroom. Just sort of fulfills this connection we have with our ancestors and the way they looked at life, and where they were so close and more connected to it than we are today with all the busy life that people lead now. It's always important to maintain some sort of connection to nature. I feel lucky to have my dad to teach me what I know. It was always just instilled in me from a young age, drawing animals, drawing wildlife. I guess my heart, my mind was always there. It was just a pastime, a game that a lot of the kids played a lot, and most northern tribes. They're pretty neat to see them go. There's a notch in the back, and it's just a straight stick, tapered at one end, kind of a upturned shape like a ski. This one I designed, I wood burned it. It says Soahe, which means in the Penobscot language, snow snake or snow dart. You drag a log through the snow to make a track, and then just throw it and drop it so it lands flat, and it'll slide down the track. It's pretty neat.
Whoa! Oh, that was a cool one. Away, hey, away,